Hey girl, welcome to Before You Go podcast. I am your host, LaShaundaB from House on the Hill Living, the home that feels like an exhale. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I am coming to you to have a conversation. This conversation is about perimenopause and menopause and all the things that people do not talk to you about. If you see me looking down, that's because I have some notes right here, because I want to try to make sure that I touch on everything that I had in mind to talk about. So first, we're going to start off with my story. My story started a couple years ago. I had fibroids really bad, and I didn't know how bad it was until I had my surgery. But let's go back. I had to have iron infusions even before I could even walk into the operating room. I took iron infusions for a couple months, and it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. It was scary to me at first because, I have white coat syndrome. So it doesn't matter, what doctor's office I'm in. If I'm in my regular doctor's office, even if I'm on a televisit, I have white coat syndrome. And white coat syndrome is when your blood pressure rises because you're talking to the doctor. A lot of people go through it and you just don't know the name of it. The name of it is white coat syndrome. So I had that going into it. But after the first appointment, I was okay. Dealing with fibroids is a lot by itself. You have a heavy cycle. I started my cycle at 9. That was something crazy. Okay, at 9 years old, and to be going through that, that's a whole thing. But I went through that, and cycles was heavy, cramps was heavy, everything was just a lot. And I didn't know that I had fibroids until many years later. And I just thought I had like 3. They did an ultrasound and everything like that, and it showed 3. But when I went to actually have my surgery, it was more. And I had a male doctor. I am not going to say his name. I'm just going to say that we had many, many, many conversations about the surgery before I even agreed to it. Because I saw a lot of people, and I did a lot of research, and a lot of people were saying, showing that their scars and different things like that. And I told this doctor up front, hey, I don't want a scar that goes up and down. I don't want it to look, I showed a picture. I was like, hey, I don't want it to look like this. If it's going to look like this, I do not want to have this surgery. Even though I know I needed the surgery, but that's just where my mind was. So he assured me that everything was going to be okay. The picture that I saw, he doesn't do anything like that. Lies. He told my family that it was worse than what it was, that we expected it to be. I get that, but I just feel like because he was a man and it was rushed from the beginning. They called, we was on our way to the doctor's office. They called while we was on our way and asked if we could come now, so on and so on. And we did that. They took me as soon as I got there. And I should have asked them to wait, just a little bit, just to give me some time to wrap my mind around what was going on. But no, that's not what happened. We did all the things. I went, had the surgery. When I came out and woke up, it looked like Freddy Krueger, Edward Scissorhands, whoever just took his claws and went straight up. My incision looked worse than the picture. Let me just say that. It was worse than the picture. And I struggled with that for a long time because I just, you're not used to seeing something on you, and then, my skin keloid, and so the incision keloid, the staples keloid, the whole thing, I just didn't like it. Then I had the drain keloid. It was just a lot. So, to get back to the story, I had a partial hysterectomy, which means they left my ovaries. So, which that takes me to, having the perimenopause, menopause symptoms. I get hot flashes. I sweat, not as much now, but before the surgery, I was sweating in the middle of the night. Now I wake up all times of the night, probably around 3 o'clock, probably every morning. Around 3 a.m., I'm up. Doing what? I don't know. My mind is going, everything is just moving fast, okay? I walk into rooms. I forget what I went in there for. They had something, or I saw something say something about frozen shoulder. I kept trying to figure out why my shoulder was hurting. I kept telling my doctor, oh, something is wrong. And they was like, oh, nothing is wrong. And then come to find out, oh, okay, it's a side effect or a symptom of menopause. I'm like, Lord, why must we go through so much? As women, we go through a lot. We have a cycle. Then we go through menopause, perimenopause. We go through all the things before everything starts to level out. Like, when does it level out? You tell me, when does it level out? I'll wait, because it's just like we go through everything. Like I said, my body went through a lot. It was just a up and down roller coaster for me. And, I just dealt with it. I have now made an appointment so we can try to get these hormones together, because let me tell you something. 1 minute I could be good, laughing, kikiing, have a good time. Girl, 20 minutes later, I'd be somewhere in the corner crying, trying to figure out what is really going on. The emotional roller coaster, just up and down, is crazy. And then you're trying to explain yourself to people, and everybody is not understanding what you're going through. And maybe you're not even saying it right. You feel like you're saying it right, but to other people, they trying to figure out what you're saying. So it's just a hard thing. And, if you're somebody that's going through the motions, the up and down, not knowing, you should not go through it by yourself. Talk to your provider and see if it's, see what y'all can do to, help you go through this journey, because you want to feel like your old self, but your old self is done. Your old self is gone. This is the new you. You have to embrace the new you and all the different changes, that your body is going through, that your mental is going through. So like I said, talk to your provider with that. You don't want to go through it alone. And you're not alone. It's a lot of women out here. I guarantee you, if you type in on any social media platform, perimenopause, menopause, it'll come up, and it's a lot of different women going through it. Some are younger and some are older, like me. I'm 48. So, we're going through. And let me tell you something that they don't tell you and they don't talk to you about. And for a good while, I was embarrassed about it. When I first was talking to one of my friends about the surgery and everything, she was like, listen, get you some lubricant. And I was like, no, I don't need that. I'm good. Everything is everything with that. And she was like, listen, I'm just telling you to get you some lubricant. And what? Can we just talk about the emotional wreck that I was afterwards with that, dealing with that? First of all, I was embarrassed because now I'm going through this. I done went through all of that, and so now I come out on the other side, and now I'm going through this. Now I have to, yeah, that was a whole thing. I struggled because I felt like, dang, why do I have to deal with this? Why am I dealing with this? What is this? You know, so yeah, just invest in it. That's all I'm gonna tell you. I'm not gonna go deep dive into all of that. I'm just saying, invest in it. You may need it from time to time. You know, you might. Trust me, okay? Having a hysterectomy and, you know, menopause, perimenopause, you might need that. Don't be embarrassed. Or, well, listen, like I said, I was embarrassed, but it took me a little bit to get over it, you know, talking and stuff like that. And so I'm still dealing with it. I'm not going to even lie to you. So if that's something that you deal with, talk to somebody, talk to a friend, talk to somebody that you can trust and you are comfortable with telling this, you know, side of your life, sharing this side of your life with. You know, talk to somebody that you really trust because it's very emotional. You know, it's an emotional thing, and you don't want to be out here talking to somebody and they're gonna make you feel worse than what you already feel. That's a no. No, don't even. So, you know, I'm not gonna hold y'all long. Like I said, I just wanted to let you know you are not alone. You know, it's a lot of us women over 40 going through it. You know, we forget things, okay? We walk into a room and you can go in that room 3 times. You feel like, oh, okay, why did I come in here? And it take a little minute and you might get it, and girl, you may not get it, okay? So let me just go over this and see if I touched on everything. Sleepless nights, brain fog, you do have that, you know, that's a thing. Trying to figure out what's wrong with me, girl. It's nothing wrong with you. You just need to get your hormones balanced and, you know, everything like are struggling with it. Talk to your provider, you know, have the conversation. It's worth having. Trust me, you'll get there. So with, you know, everything that I said, we're just going to close out and say, give yourself some grace. This season in your life does not get to write the final chapter, okay? I am your host, LaShaundaB, and I thank you so much for coming and having these conversations with me. This is our 2nd episode, and as I said before, things will get better. I'm still new to this. This is still different for me, you know, trying to talk to my camera, you know, versus talking with somebody. I'm stepping out on faith. I'm doing this thing and we'll see how it goes. So thank you again for coming in the house with me, LaShaundaB. I'll see you again next Monday at 6 p.m. Until then, keep it cute, drink your water, and mind your business, okay?